Hey guys, so you've been asking me how to clean a silicone mermaid tail. Mermaid Reina has a great tutorial on this, but I figured since you guys are asking, I'll show you my technique as to how I clean my silicone mermaid tail. And his name is Sparta, in case you don't know. I apologize for the background noise. There's an air conditioner going right now. There's people downstairs. I have company coming over. Just kind of hectic, so I'm gonna do this as quickly as I can. Obviously as well as I can too. The first thing that I always do is I always clean out my tub with vinegar and water before I clean my tail. So I'm going to go ahead and get some water started and pour some vinegar into the tub. For this part, I don't really measure out the vinegar and I don't really measure out the water. I kind of just put a little bit of water in the tub and a little bit of vinegar. Then I grab an old rag, or I think this is a rag. I don't know, it's old. It's like from when I was a baby. I think it's a baby blanket. I'm gonna take this old baby blanket and I'm gonna use it to clean out this tub. So I'm just gonna scrub everything down to make sure there's no chemical residue left in this bathtub that could possibly damage my tail. And also make sure there's not any like dirt from someone's dirty feet or any sand left over from the beach. So I'm gonna give this a scrub. I'm not dressed the best, so I'm not gonna show you me cleaning it, but you will get to see my hands. Yeah. Alright, once you are done scrubbing out the tub and you have made sure to wipe it down really nice, you can go ahead and pull that plug and let the water drain. You've gotta love these old houses with their old bathrooms. Such beautiful off-white yellowy stuff. Okay, now take your shower head. It's best if you have one that can be pulled down. Otherwise you can use a bucket of water or a cup of water. Mine is adjustable, so I'm going to turn it on to the most powerful setting. And turn the water on, and I am going to clean out the residue that could be stuck in the bottom of the tub. I'm just going to turn this on. If that makes sense, you know, I'm just going to I'm going to rinse the tub. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rinse the tub. And if at some point during this process you happen to find a beetle drowning in your bathtub, the polite thing to do is to save him. And yes, our bathtub is stained. Come here, little guy. Now, before you put your tail in the tub, I always take mine outside and hose it down. I already did that, so I'm not going to show you that part, but I just basically lay it down kind of at a vertical angle, and I hose it down and let stuff run out of the fluke. I use cold water for this, just to get any sand or debris out that could go down my drain that I don't want to go down my drain. I already did that, so I'm going to move on to the next step, which is plugging the drain. After plugging the drain, I'm going to add about 7 cups of white vinegar. And then I'm going to turn on the water so that it's not too hot, but it's warm enough to melt the coconut oil off of my tail. Once my leaky tub is almost full to the top, I stick my tail in and my heel straps. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Because I want to melt the coconut oil that's on the inside of my tail and get any grime and gunk that's inside there out, I make sure that I press my tail down and let any bubbles that are in come out. I usually scoop up a bit of the water inside of my like opening area here. Just kind of force it down that way. Really good press. Kind of like you're doing CPR. And then the bubbles will start to come out the fluke. Like I said, I like to do a sort of CPR maneuver on my tail towards where the heel of my monofin begins. And that just kind of helps circulate water through my tail, so I get the vinegar water solution all throughout. That helps to disinfect things and prevent the growth of mold. And it also gets debris out of my drainage holes. So I'm going to show you what that looks like real quick because it's kind of cool. Sure if you could see that all too well, but I just thought I'd try to catch it on camera. Anyways, it's something you should probably do if your tail has drainage holes. I know not all of them do, but they should. So yeah, just a little tip there. Another thing I'll do is I will turn the water back on and fill the tub up the rest of the way, and I will make sure that I get some of that water into my fluke, and then I'll just kind of like reach my hand in there and slosh things around. I'll see if I can get it on camera. Kind of a messy, wet process, and I don't want to get my camera soaked. The next thing I'm going to do is take this soft facial brush sort of thing. I saw Raina doing this and I tried it. I'm like, okay, this is a great technique to use for cleaning your tail. I'm going to take this and I'm going to go on the inside of my tail. Now it's important to do this while the water's still warm because I do use coconut oil to get my tail on. The warm water helps melt the coconut oil, and this scrub brush helps to kind of get it off of my tail. So I'm going to go in and do that. I'm not going to be able to show you how I do it because my hand's going to be inside my tail, but what I focus on the most is getting underneath my monofin, around my monofin the best I can, and along any seams that I have inside of my tail, because that's where things tend to build up the most. So you're gonna have to forgive me. The reality of life is that we have dogs, or a dog, and my grandparents have dogs, and their dogs are very high-pitched, and dogs like to bark at each other. So they're barking right now, and squealing, or whatever that noise is. While they're doing that, I'm gonna try to catch my breath because it's hot in here. And I'm going to grab my facial scrub brush thing, and I'm going to go along the fluke of my tail and just gently scrub any sand or debris off of there. And then I'm going to work my way up the front side of my tail on the outside and get the scales, gently of course. And then on the back side of my tail as well, and on the sides. I think some people forget the sides. On average, this whole scrubby thing should take about 20 minutes, unless your tail is very, very dirty, which sometimes our tails are quite messy. So we're gonna go in and do some scrubbing. Silicone Mermaid tail is now flipped over to the other side, and you are looking at the side of my fluke that would hit the ground if I was sitting on my butt. And when you're cleaning your tail, it's a good time to stop and look for damage. My tail has some paint scrapes, quite a few actually, from an event I did back in May. And I need to fix that. But when you're cleaning your tail, it's a great time to look for any tears, any holes or cuts, scrapes, what have you. So yeah, Sparta's got a little bit of damage over there. We need to take care of that, don't we, baby? I'm going to clean this side just like I cleaned the other side, but I'm going to be careful around these paint scrapes so that I don't scrape the paint even further. All scrubbed down. So what I'm going to do after that is finished is I am going to make sure I get a ton of water into the tail, make sure that the whole thing is filled with the vinegar water solution. I might even add an extra cup of vinegar too, because it does smell a little weak. And I want to make sure that it is disinfected and good to go. So what I'm going to do right now is take this and I'm going to scoop water up in it and let it drain down towards the fluke. Some water came out the ends of my drainage holes, which is a good sign. Be careful that you have your nails cut so you don't scratch your tail. And now I'm going to do that CPR thing on my tail once again to make sure the water is flowing through nicely. Make sure the water is filled up in here as well. You guys may see me with my glasses on looking like a homeless person. You're just going to have to accept that because that's the reality here. I'm just going to reach my hand inside and just wiggle it around a bit to loosen up any coconut oil that could still be in there. And once again, I'm going to scoop up some water, fill it up, and resuscitate it, or whatever you call that. Before I let it sit overnight, I'm just going to press along the ends of my tail, or the middle, whatever you want to call this part, and I'm going to try to get any air bubbles out that could possibly be in there, just to make sure it's full of solution. Just kind of roll it like a tube of toothpaste. Straps, I'm just going to let them soak in here. Don't really need to do anything with those. You can scrub them if you'd like to, but I don't typically bother. So I'm just going to let that sit here. I'll let my tail sit overnight, much to my brother's dismay. And then we'll come back and we'll go through the rest of the steps. So I'll see you then. Make sure you look out for that video and subscribe to this channel.